Hello everyone, how are you feeling today? This is Timeless Flux, and today we have a reading on your next steps. Before we start this reading, I just wanted to show you that I have almost all of my crystals here, but I also have this special participation of my magic wands. This beautiful magic wand has been manufactured by Claudia Pucci, a Brazilian artist, and this other one here too. And they're here to help us focus on a clear direction. They're both pointing north. Since we're going to talk about next steps, okay? The moment I'm recording this video, even if this is a timeless video, but the moment I'm recording this video is during our social isolation due to the COVID pandemic. So I think it's very important for us to have any kind of energy, any kind of tool that might actually help us focus on clear directions and clear next steps. So today for you, I have three options. Option number one is represented by this beautiful tiger's eye, okay? Today I'm talking crystals, so I'm going to name them. Option number two is this beautiful amethyst. And option number three is this crystal pointer. Okay? So option number one, option number two, option number three. You can pause the video if you want, but if you have already selected your pile, you can use the timestamps in the description box or in a comment to move right ahead, okay? But if you have selected pile number one, then you just stay with me, because this is your reading. Welcome to those of you who've selected this beautiful tiger's eye, my pile ones. Today I'm talking crystals and I'm reading crystals. So with this tone, with your selection here, what I see is that this is a moment in which you are protected, but you're protected because your life is changing. You're protected because you see this line over here. Let me see if I can get it. Yeah. You see this line over here? This is dividing two moments in your life. It's going to be like before this moment you're living right now and after this moment you're living right now. So this is actually a very important time in your life in which you're deciding which people to trust, is what I'm seeing here, okay? So let's check on your cards. First, I have some tarot cards that are going to give me a context of what you might be experiencing. Just remember to take what resonates and leave the rest. These are general readings, okay? So what I see here, we have sharing, we have isolation, we have conditioning in reverse, and we have past lives. And all of these cards from Osho Zen Tarot are actually representing cards from the traditional tarot, okay? But I read them a bit differently. In the proposal in the booklet is also a bit different. So these cards are telling me of a moment in which you're trying to share your knowledge, share your talents, share your passion for life, okay? You have a lot to offer. You live in abundance, okay? But you've been isolating yourself. And I see that this isolation is not only due to any kind of external constraint, but also due to a process in which you had to review your conditioning. And by conditioning, I mean anything that you might have learned in the past that you were supposed to do, things that hinted on how you should look like, how you should behave. This conditioning has actually prevented you for a long time from sharing your true talents and gifts, okay? But now you're just overcoming this moment. That's why it's like a before this crisis and after this crisis. I do see that you're living quite of a crisis now, but its peak has already passed. The hard stuff is already done, okay? You had to isolate yourself because otherwise you would never be able to sieve everything that was necessary and needed to stay in your life and everything that just simply had to go, okay? And this moment right now is a little tricky because your transformation is not yet completed, but you can already visualize how you're going to be. It's something that's hard to integrate and it might feel uncomfortable. Whatever you've learned after a long struggle, okay? But what I see here is that this transformation could have been even harder if you hadn't taken for yourself the task of shedding any kind of conditioning that was not working for you. And in order to do that, you had to isolate yourself. You had to create this clear mental safe house in which you could examine everything that you had to offer and examine your relationships. You needed to do this by yourself. You couldn't do this at the risk of listening to opinions from your friends, from your family that maybe might influence you. So you had to isolate quite a bit. And what I see now is that you're finally ready to share. Okay? You're finally ready to share your gifts. Now let's see in terms of next steps. Okay, I have here communication is key. Okay, in reverse, new moon in Gemini. So since this card is in reverse, what I see is that it will be very important for you at this moment in your life to avoid any kind of confusion when it comes to communicating to others. Okay, Gemini is a very, very strong energy and it's always cycling. If you're a Gemini, I don't mean to be rude. What I mean to say is that here Gemini is not presented as your energy. It is presented as the energy of the moment. So you're coming out of this isolation period, okay? And if you're listening to this reading in the moment of the imposed self-isolation due to the COVID pandemic, I don't see that you isolating yourself was only related to this specific moment in time, okay? I see that you actually had to consciously choose to be alone, to experiment solitude, to go in deep into your beliefs, and now you're coming out of it. So even if you're watching this video at the moment it's being recorded, you're trying to get in touch with people more online. You're trying to go to the web and you're trying to expose yourself, but it's like baby steps, okay? Even if you can't leave your house, you're trying to communicate a bit more. Since this video is timeless, if you're watching and we are already out of this social isolation, I see that you're trying to get out there and talk to people and manifest your interest, but you need to be really careful about any kind of gossip, any kind of energy that seems to be double-faced or bidirectional, if you know what I mean. Some people, they tend to bring drama, they tend to introduce crazy making into our lives, and this is not the moment for you to attract this kind of energy, okay? Let me see if they give more info on that, because for you and only for you, I have 2 extra oracle cards. I also have it's time to release negativity in reverse. And then I have a fiery climax approaches, full moon in Aries. Beautiful. And this is upright. Okay, so you see that you have another energy here that is very strong, which is the full moon in Scorpio, okay? And it's time to release negativity, and this is in reverse. So what I understand is that you tend to have maybe an even naive perception of how other people behave. You're always the one to give second chances because you have so much to give and you want to share your talents. You want to actually help people with your talents. But the thing is, you need to be careful about the lessons you've learned. Okay, by now you already know the kind of people that is in tune with your energy, the kind of people that's only crazy making. Okay, so try not to confound being a negative person with being a person who protects your energy. Sometimes this things get a little bit mixed up in our minds. It's like we believe that in order to be a quote unquote good person, we need to actually condone with any kind of behavior, anything people ask us. We need to be an all yes person, and then we lose our limits. So as you go out of your isolation period and decide where to focus your energy on, remember that you are not a quote unquote bad person just because you're setting the limits in which you can flourish, because this is exactly what's going to happen. You're getting out of your isolation and a fiery climax approaches. I'm going to show this card again because it's so beautiful and so true. Okay, this is Aries energy. So here we have a moment in time in which you will start testing the ideas that you've been incubating all of this time about yourself, about the way you want to relate to other people, about what you want to put in this world. So your test needs to be protected, okay? I don't know why, but I'm hearing that for some of you want to write, some of you want to create artistic works, okay? So in this case, do not let anyone steal your time from your artistic creations, and also be careful about what you show and to whom you show when you start sharing your works of art, okay? This doesn't mean that you need to be afraid about people's reactions. You just need to feel comfortable enough that whatever the reception is to your works, you're feeling good about yourself, and do not anticipate showing your works of art, any kind of work of art or creative project beforehand. Okay, just be sure that they're ready. I know that works of art are never ready, but make sure that this is the final version you want to show to the world, and be careful to whose opinions are you going to accept. Okay, this is not supposed to be a fearful energy, but I think you know what I mean when I talk about that. This is about lessons you've already learned, and it costs you to learn, okay? Now that you're coming out of isolation, please be careful about how you share your energy and the products of your labor. Even if you're not a person that's working with artistic endeavors, remember that you are the one who controls what the world's going to see and what the world's not going to see. This is going to help you balance your energy and remember the limits that you've just built, okay? So from the tarot, we have this little narrative going on here. And what I see is that you're actually coming full power with the Queen of Swords here. Just know that you are actually going to have financial returns for any idea you're considering, okay? Let me see if I can see something more specific about this idea. It's something that you're passionate about. And it's something that, okay, if you're watching this pile, you already know what I'm talking about. It's something that you've been building upon during your isolation, trying to understand yourself, trying to understand where to go. It's like you're here not exactly for me to tell you what is your next step, but how to go about this next step. Is if spirit has anything to say about your next step, because what I see here is that you are passionate about this idea and you've been developing this idea for a while. This is going to bring you material abundance, and this is going to be based on what you already know, what you already discovered about yourself, okay? It's totally related to the purpose in your life. And now I have the card of the Hierophant, okay? So whatever you're thinking about doing, this is based on knowledge you have acquired, not only through your experiences in this realm, this material realm, but also because it's divinely guided, okay? You're inspired from other realms and they are supporting your idea. This could be not for all of you, but this could be something related to academia, to academic endeavors. This could be you teaching something. Whatever you do with the Hierophant here, I see that your talents are going to be used in order to heal, in order to broaden perspectives in the world, You're going with your work to show people how to relate to more spiritual or deeper levels of consciousness, okay? This could be in writing, this could be in any kind of artistic endeavor. This could also be something related to teaching and learning, okay? I hope this message has helped. Please, if you like this video, do not forget to comment, share a like, and subscribe to our channel so that we can keep up with the good work and that you receive all of the notifications when new videos are launched, okay? Have a nice day and very good luck, because the energy in this cards was amazing. Okay, so now I'm moving on to pile number 2. Welcome, pile number 2. If you've chosen this beautiful amethyst, it's really beautiful, okay? Then this is your pile and this is your reading. And I'm going to start with tarot cards that are going to give me a general context on this moment that you're living. And so that I can talk a little bit more about your next steps. Okay, so what I have here is we have the burden, we have maturity, and we have the Fool. Okay, so what I see here is that you have been carrying a huge burden of some sort. There was something in your life that was really heavy and that was taking a massive toll on your energy, okay? Because of that, and after overcoming that, you've acquired a lot of maturity, you've grown a lot, okay? And now, for the first time, because I see this burden is not there anymore, or at least is not there, it's not as heavy as it used to be. Something shift in your consciousness, something shift in your awareness on what the position you had here, okay? And then you were able to resignify or abandon this burden completely. Because see the picture here, what we have is someone carrying this female figure, which is imposing and directing and controlling. And normally this kind of situation only happens if we feel that we are in debt to whatever is burdening us. This could even be a woman in your life, this could be a mother figure, but whatever it is, you accepted to carry the burden because you felt in debt with this situation or person, okay? And then once you realize that there's no actual debt in life, okay? There are relationships that come and go and flow, then you have actually reached a point in which it's like you outgrew this, okay? You've outgrown this burden. I don't know why, but I'm hearing that for some of you, it was not even a matter of the person, the situation, the relationship getting out of your life. It was just a shift in perspective. And because of that, you grew a lot. And this burden is not as heavy as it used to be. Now you have all of this free energy and you want to explore the world. You want to go on adventures. You want to really test your limits. You want to get out of your comfort zone because you've been under this heavy weight for so long. Now you have all of this energy, okay? And it's interesting to say that the Fool is not a card of just randomly doing whatever. It's a card of jumping out of a cliff, like the image shows, or of trying something really new, but it doesn't mean that you didn't think about it. So maybe now you want to give wings to a dream that you had while you were here in this position. And now that you have all of this free energy, you can actually do it. But it doesn't mean that you're being careless or that you do whatever. You probably have some pretty good ideas already on what you're going to test. You just cannot control the results because, of course, no one can. And your plan is going to depend on your experience. With this newly acquired maturity, you're going to learn more and more as you go, because you need to test yourself in the world again. So I have an oracle card for you, and this says conclusions are within reach, and it's in reverse. Don't get scared by this energy. This is actually very good energy. It's exactly what I was saying. You do not see the end of the road. You do not see the end of the path, because you need to experiment more. What you need to do now is just jump out of this cliff so that you can have the experiences that are going to bring the knowledge you need. Okay, so conclusions are not within reach. This is a completely open path. Your next steps are completely open. It's a moment in which you hold nothing back. It's your moment. You are supposed to take all of your dreams, everything that you've conceived and that you ended up not doing because of this burden, and take them to the world. Learn from the implementation of them. So conclusions are not within reach, because you're kind of feeling, and this is an amazing energy, you're kind of feeling like this is the beginning of a whole new life. It's like you're being born again. This is beautiful energy, okay? But just don't get too caught up into well-defined plans, because this is not the moment. This is the moment to be courageous enough, be brave enough to jump off that cliff, okay? Now I have some tarot cards that are going to give me a little narrative for what we've been talking about and your next steps. Let's see if I can get anything clear. Okay. Also, regarding these next steps, you are going to need the support of other people in order to get out there in the world and try whatever you're meaning to try, okay? First of all, the first thing is you need to establish a number of things that you didn't do, you always dreamt about doing, that you want to test right now. And this could be a list. I'm clearly visualizing a list for you, and I don't know why, but I think this is important. This could be a list of up to 5 items or 5 areas of your life that you would like to experiment with. So maybe in your romantic life, you would like to change your style when getting together with people. If you're already in a relationship, you want to change some things about the way you deal with your relationship. I see romantic situations, possibly romantic situations. I see professional situations. I see new projects, a lot of things that you want to test, and you'll be able to test them now. You just have to narrow down to a list of possibilities that you can actually implement, and take one small step, no matter how small, just to bind your intention to the actual manifestation of these things that you're going to experiment. One thing that I see that could happen here is you getting a bit overwhelmed by everything that you want to do and start trying to do everything at the same time. So work with this list. Take some time alone to meditate on the 4, 5, 3 most important things that you would like to accomplish in a period of up to 5 months, okay? I see that these next 2 months are going to be important to you in terms of decisions you're going to make, but before you make the decisions, you have to actually have a list of things that you're passionate about, things that you always wanted to do and you couldn't because of this burden. And now that you have all of this free energy available, you will need to test what you're dreaming about. Of course, when we test and when we focus our intent on manifesting, things are not going to come to us the way we thought they would, okay? So then after you test, and only after you test, you will be able to decide better for yourself and for your future. It's like you've been in captivity with this issue here for a long time. So now I want to do everything at the same time. You need to have a list and you need to prioritize within this list. And your priorities should be based on what you're passionate about. You are only going to decide and you are only going to understand what works for you and what doesn't work for you after you experiment. It's also important that you judge, as I said, based on your passions and not based on your past. Maybe due to this burden and to the way you've been living up to now, you will still have some habits that are detrimental to the development of new projects, new attitudes, new relationships. So I see that most of you are probably not in a committed relationship right now, but even if you are, try to remember that some of the habits you have, remember that these are only patterns. Whenever we are carrying a heavy burden, we need to omit a lot of what we want to do. We need to sometimes even pretend that we're someone else in order to better adapt to the needs of this burden situation, okay? It is important for you to make your list, a very practical, concrete list of things that you mean to accomplish. It doesn't matter if it's in the workplace, if it's in your life. It's probably even better for you to have a balance when selecting your priorities, okay? Do not put all of your coins in one same jar, because you will need to experiment, to research, and you're going to research empirically. You're going to put yourself out there and realize what you like or not. Now your passions are very abstract. Once you start implementing, you will know that maybe some of the things you're considering are not exactly your cup of tea, but it doesn't matter. What's important now is that you test everything that you feel you need to test, okay? And I have 3 more cards here talking about this situation. So, yeah, I see love coming for you. And when I mean love, I'm not only talking about romantic relationships. I'm talking about good energies, lovable energies, positive energies in the form of messages, people that might enter your life. And they are coming your way because you're going to open up to these different kinds of experiments, okay? Be careful not to be too carried away when it comes to money, okay? You need to preserve your money somehow in order to be able to accomplish everything that you're setting out to accomplish. But most of all, remember with this 3 of Wands here, remember that you will need collaboration and you need to know how to ask for help, okay? This is going to be a very creative moment for you while you work through this list and decide what stays and what goes and what changes. It's amazing when we can enter this vibe of actually experimenting with different things. So this is going to be a very creative moment. Just remember that you don't need to isolate. You don't need to keep up with any habit that you consider negative from the phase that you were in before, okay? And I didn't talk about the crystal you've selected, the amethyst, but it's actually very important in this experience, so I'm going to leave it here, okay? Like that, even better, pointing to your direction, like the wands. Why is the amethyst important? Because the amethyst is related to the third eye chakra, okay? It works very well with the development of intuition. And there's actually a very simple exercise that you can do in order to develop this intuition, which is, if you like crystals, placing an amethyst in your on your third eye chakra, between your two eyebrows and a little bit to the top in your forehead. You can imagine that there's a purple light that's coming from inside your head and projecting through your third eye chakra as you breathe in and out, okay? This is a very simple exercise that can help you enhance your intuitive capacities. They are going to be very necessary in this new phase of your life. You're learning how to speak up, you're learning how to be yourself, you're learning how to trust something that's deeper inside of you, and you're learning to shed all kinds of debts. You were not indebted to this burden that you've been carrying. Either, it doesn't matter if it was coming in the form of a person, a relationship, specific relationship, or a project. Now that you don't have it anymore, you're learning what to do with your freedom, basically. And this is something that we only learn by experimenting. This is the key word for you. What's your next step? Experiment. But when we experiment within common sense, but out of our comfort zone and following our intuition, this is a completely different experience, okay? It's going to be very important for you to try and work and learn more and more about your intuitive powers. These powers are what's going to guarantee that you feel less anxious, that you know how to deal with the message of this card here, that conclusions are not within reach, okay? The only thing that can lead you astray of your path right now is becoming anxious about having it all sorted out even before you put yourself out there, because burdenous situations like the one you left, they have an advantage, okay? They are a prison. They are not what you're meant to do here. They're kind of a mind trap sometimes that cages us without our consent, but we kind of condone with it because they are predictable. You always know that you need to carry the burden, even if it's a burden, the next morning, and this instills us with a false sense of safety, okay? You're going to lose this safety completely. Conclusions are not within reach, but if you learn how to ask for help, even if it's a conversation, even if it's something you need to cathartically expose to someone, and also, of course, help also in material terms, help also with action. If you need any kind of help, do not forget to ask. This is fine balance you're learning, okay? I'm going to have my limits. I'm going to establish my limits, and I'm going to work with my dreams or through my dreams as I uncover what I should really be doing. But I'm going to be open to new possibilities, new people, and especially new sources of help that I couldn't even see before. So, with the protection of this amethyst, I hope this message has helped. If you like the video, please do not forget to comment, subscribe, share a like, and let me know in the comment section if this message resonated or not, okay? Now, I'm moving on to the reading for pile 3. If you've selected this pointer here, this beautiful crystal pointer, then this reading is for you, pile 3, okay? The pointer is reinforcing the need of a direction in life. If you observe here, and I'm really going to try to show you and focus here, this pointer has lots of different markings inside, okay? And it shows how many times you've tried to find direction. And that's maybe why you're here in this reading about next steps. You're not actually only concerned about the next steps that you're going to have at this precise moment. You're always looking for a clear direction, and you've been lost for quite some time here. So take advantage of the energy of this crystal pointer, and remember that you have something like that inside you, always pointing to the right direction. You just need to learn how to access it. But I know it's been hard. First, I have some tarot cards that are going to give me a context. Okay. So, with these cards, I see that you're a person that tries to be an open book. What you see is what you get. This has led you to not see, or at least not understand, how you could profitably and productively relate to other people, okay? It's like it's hard for you to develop a social facade. It's hard for you to understand why people need to adapt to different social situations. Why can't people be the same in every place, in every context? You find that this is highly hypocritical, and you're not completely mistaken. I agree with you, but it's also very problematic when you don't understand that that's how we've conceived our society. That's how we've been working, to the point in which you are going to make your life more difficult for yourself, okay? I'm seeing situations like you're expected to use some kind of clothing, some kind of formal attire in order to attend a meeting, and then you don't use it, and that's okay. But this is okay, this is honest, this is who you are. You're not going to change your outfit to conform. That's okay. But being a nonconformist all the time can actually prevent you from advancing with your life. Because in this situation, for example, this could be a situation in which you chose a battle and chose to change the way you dress because you needed a job, okay? And there's also nothing wrong with that. We're not operating with judgments here. But I see that it's very hard for you to conform, not even to conform, but to adapt. The non-conformity characteristic has led you to become a bit inflexible sometimes, if you know what I mean. And then now you're at a moment in which you have finally realized, after careful observation, you have finally realized that the attitude of being inflexible with what you're going to accept, what you're not going to accept, the attitude that you want to be always authentic, and you only have an authentic self, one authentic self. This has been hindering your process. You have just realized that, but you still don't know how to act. So when I talked about the crystal pointer saying that you were always lost in life and you needed direction, or at least you've been lost for a long time and you needed some kind of guidance, not only for the next steps, but for the direction of your life in general, this is exactly what I was talking about. Because you want not to conform, sometimes non-conformity becomes an excuse for having kind of a tunnel vision when it comes to how your life should be, how you should look. You might even feel tempted to experiment things that you ideologically consider to be offensive or non-productive, and then you would kill this internal wish for experimenting because you're even embarrassed of conforming, even if a little, even if it's against your own benefit. Okay, so I see some kind of rigidity here that you have already realized is not good for you, and now you're trying to shift, but you don't know how. So the oracle card I have here for you is a win-win outcome is forecast. Full moon in Libra. Libra energy is all about balance, okay? I'm a Libra myself, so and it's also about understanding the aesthetic side of life, okay? Even if you're not a Libra, this is the energy I see here. You need at this time to allow for beauty in your life. It doesn't have to be what beauty standards propose. You can actually create your own concept of beauty. You need to allow for pleasures, for understandings, for perspectives that are not only about morality, okay? Because when you say I'm never going to wear a mask, this is beautiful and this is valid. This is what I think everybody should be focused on, finding authenticity in their lives. But sometimes it becomes an excuse not to understand some of our own passions that we consider to be too traditional, okay? There's nothing wrong about wanting, for example, a traditional marriage, about wanting to use a certain kind of clothes that is fashionable right now. There's nothing wrong in essence with this attitude, but it's like you've become inflexible about what you believe, and there's a difference between radical and inflexible attitudes, okay? Radical attitudes, they are rooted. Radical comes from a word that means root, okay? So when you're radical, what you're doing is you're finding what grounds you, what roots you, the passions that allow you to have a strong connection with being alive in this world, and you are taking them, taking advantage of them to the most. It doesn't matter what other people think. This is to be radical. But there's a difference between being radical and being inflexible. When you're inflexible, you just select some ideas and the way they're going to express in the world. For example, you're against beauty standards. You think they should disappear, so you are never going to appreciate beauty anymore. It's saying something like that. You see, this is inflexible. A radical person would say, okay, I am going to create my own concept of beauty. I am going to create my own take on fashion, for example, okay? Now that you see that being inflexible has taken a toll on you and you're feeling kind of lost, try to see if your new direction can come from new perspectives on beauty, okay? And understand beauty any way you want. It's trying to approach sensual pleasure of the senses also, and not only what's logically or ideologically considered to be correct, okay? Then I have tarot cards here to further develop this situation. And you have more tarot cards than any of the other groups. So let's see what we have here. We have the Nine of Wands. Upright, we have the Knight of Swords in reverse. Then we have the Ten of Wands upright. And the Six of Swords in reverse. Okay, not bad. What I see here is that, first of all, you already have built a lot. When you're trying to change your perspective on life, do not forget everything that you have already built. It's not a matter of I'm going to throw it all away and now I'm going to start from scratch, because actually you already have accomplished a lot. It's just a matter of giving yourself time to consider your beliefs. Okay, with this Knight of Swords in reverse here, what I see is that your problem is not acting. Your problem is acting and then kind of realizing after you put a lot of work and effort that you're still not fulfilled, okay? This is the issue here. And this issue is related to your inflexible mindset. So if you manage to control a little bit the speed in which you judge people, things, situations, you will be able to have a clearer perspective on what serves you and what does not serve you. Remember that whenever someone invites you to do something, whenever someone invites you to participate on a project or a new idea arises, you don't need to say yes or no, or to have a clear idea on whether you want to do this or not immediately. You can very simply, you can plainly say, I'm not ready, I need time to think about it. And then consider all of the things that, all of the energy you will need to infuse in this task, okay? Because what I see here is that your problem is not working. You work a lot and you've accomplished a lot. Your problem is that you have kind of isolated yourself from other people. You work with them, but you're locked inside, in a sense of maybe you even feel a little bit of a superiority, but superiority not in the sense that you don't want to help people. I see you as a person who helps a lot of people, but can't actually pair up with them. You don't see them as peers, okay? You see yourself kind of in a different stance because of this inflexible mindset. It's like the rules you have, the rules under which you've been operating your life, you consider them to be better than the rules and ideologies other people normally base their lives on, okay? And this needs to change. But you're not going to change this by contemplating and understanding that, okay, everybody has the right to their own opinion and everybody has the right to think the way they do. No, you're going to change that by actually slowing down and considering every single project and option in your life carefully, in order to make decisions about what you're going to do and what you're not going to do, okay? This is the only way you're going to actually complete this cycle. I know that you're going to complete this cycle, but I see that's going to be a bit of a challenge for you to reevaluate everything that you've been doing according to your own passions and not only according to ideology. Give yourself time, give yourself a break before you take any decision. You actually start considering them under the light of your newly established concept of beauty and how to create beauty in your life. I see that this is a key word for you. Even if I've given examples about standard beauty and maybe physical beauty, bodies, this is not the only scenario in which this concept of beauty will apply. You need to create beauty in your life, and this is how you're going to be able to finish the cycle, to have some closure on this level of inflexibility you've been operating with, in order to be able to share yourself with the world and share your thoughts with the world in your ideology in a more productive way. I see here that if you learn that, you will be able to live accordingly to your ideology. But there's a saying in Portuguese that goes like, people are trying to be more royal than the king himself. And this is kind of what I see for you. When you try to implement your ideology, whatever you believe, and when you try to share it with the world, you share it as if we all lived under ideal conditions, and this is not true. When we follow a certain ideological path, we need to choose our battles wisely. If you don't do that, you're not a role model to anyone, and you might find yourself resisting change and also feeling a bit abandoned by the rest of the world, because people do not want to follow you or do not want to believe in you, support your projects, because they see that you are inflexible, okay? Go for the radical view on ideology, rooted, based, and generating beauty in your life. Don't go for the inflexible view on ideology. I have 3 extra cards here also talking about next steps. So again, this is not the moment to throw away anything that you've been doing. This is something that's screaming at me during this reading, that you might feel like, okay, now I want to change my perspective. I want to be a little bit more open, and then I have to let go of everything that I've been doing. This is not the case, but it's also not the case of trying to implement changes too fast. Your next step will be to get in touch with your concept of beauty and how to generate beauty in your life, but this will need time to develop. And the way you develop it is not mental. The way you develop it is by considering every single decision, every single opportunity you have in your life under different lenses, taking the time to investigate. If you're not the person who is actually bringing burdens to your life, or bringing situations that are not the most interesting for yourself to your life, okay? If you do that, you will be able to change, to transform, radically transform in a more positive way. This transformation is coming anyway, but you want this transformation to be something as conscious as possible, because otherwise you keep on facing this lack of direction in your life and you won't be able to prevent change, but it may come more dramatically than necessary. If you start taking the necessary steps to reconsider what you've been doing, not throw away, but just reconsider what you've been doing through the lenses of how to create beauty in your own life. If you can make yourself responsible for creating beauty in your own life without judging others, without blaming others for your lack of fulfillment, then you will still change. But this will be a conscious change. This will be a process that you won't be able to control, but at least you will be able to know what's happening and why it's happening and why it's important. Okay, so I hope this message has been helpful. If you like this video, please do not forget to share, like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the bell in order to receive notifications on our next videos, and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.